Hello, my name is Dom and I help people to step into their truth and power. In this video, I'm going to be sharing the difference between what is fate and destiny and what is free will, and how much free will we actually have, and do we really create our own reality? The truth is, many of us experience an awakening of sorts where we become aware that we're more than our physical beings with egos. We have more available to us than just the 5 senses that we use in order to interpret and create reality. And when we become aware of this, it's really empowering and you feel a sense of freedom that you'd never have experienced before. It expands the span of our perception of who we think we really are. When I went through my awakening a few years ago, I realized that all of the things that I experienced up until that present moment were happening not to me, but for me, in a way that was creating pressure for me to more easily wake up to the things that I had to do and I had to change in my life. So many people are not awake to what they're really doing. They're not really happy and they're living through a daily grind, and they continue doing this day after day because there is this feeling that they're stuck, or there is a fear that the cost of making a change would just be too great. But from my experience, the cost of not making the changes needed winds up feeling like death by 1,000 cuts. I've been doing a lot of reading and studying about this over the years, and every single person that comes through an awakening like this has experienced some level of pain in their past or in their present. It might be an emotional pain, mental pain, a physical pain, or really any type of pain in general. And when this happens, the ego begins to feel the pressure. It feels the stress of being compressed. And there is then a strong desire to get through it and surrender to it. This happens for us because when everything is comfortable, there is no real reason to question our reality. Even if being comfortable isn't good for us in the long run, everything is just a certain way and we resist changing it, even though we aren't that happy and we know it's not good for us. We tend to rationalize things down to the lowest common denominator of it could be worse. But many people who've been through things and have experienced some kind of pain in the past, it ultimately led them to becoming more aware of who they are as a spiritual being, not being just their physical ego structure in a body. This is something that once you experience, it is really difficult to put into words. But it is something that you know inside, not in your mind, but in the core of your beingness. This became really prevalent for me when I began meditating. I would become more aware of things and just know. There was no physical proof giving me any indication of the feelings I was knowing from within. I just knew. And so I began to realize that I was more than just my physical self, but I am a spiritual being living in a temporary 3D virtual reality world, in a sense. And when I direct my energy a certain way within how this 3D virtual reality works, we can then harness our inner power and energy, so it goes towards a more preferable, desirable experience that we want to live. And so the questions are in this. Do we have free will, or is it fate? Which do we really have? Well, the answer isn't one or the other, but actually we have both. There are certain things we have that are referred to as our destiny or fate. There are things that I believe we are supposed to do while we are here on this planet. There's a purpose for why we're here, which we agreed to before coming into this physical existence. There are gifts that we've signed up for, and there are limitations that we've also agreed to have. We chose these things before we came into this life so that we can then choose how to navigate through it. And how we navigate through it is where our free will comes in. So there are certain things that are destined. There are anointings and appointings which have been made for us. Perhaps it's to do a particular type of job, or to create something that will have an impact on others, or to fill a unique need in some area of the world. Perhaps it's to meet a particular person or group of people to help impact their life in a particular way. Or perhaps it's in a relationship, like meeting a person who is your soulmate or your twin flame. It could be any one of these or several of these, but these things can be decided at higher levels, and then we have our spiritual guides that help facilitate synchronicity. These synchronicities are occurring even outside of our awareness to help guide us to have different experiences as we go through life. The different experiences we need to have to help evolve us into living with more awareness, and hopefully over time, as we become aware of who we are and our truth, will bring us closer in relationship to God and to those we need to be in relationship with while we're alive here on the planet. When I look back at certain things that have happened in my life, I can totally see how the different possibilities could have played out. But what actually played out was orchestrated in a way to influence my growth. When I look at the people that I am in relationship with in my life, I can see a deeper connection with a few of the people. There's no denying it. And since our paths have crossed, I know that I'll always be in relationship with them in that deeper connection. But usually, the relationships come about through some very synchronistic experience. And when you see two people who have this type of connection with each other, you can see it between them, and they can feel it between each other. There is something deeper and more special about the connection that is held. They work well together. They experience balance together. There is a deep trust together and a knowing of sorts. And it's as if they were just meant to always be together. So how it happens is the free will part. I believe it was destiny for me to go into IT for the first part of my adult life. And I believe it was destiny to be a worship leader at my church for my whole life. Between these two things, it has allowed me to do what I do now, which includes doing these videos online and sharing these ideas in a way that I, thankfully, thank God, don't feel so intimidated by the technology, because I have that IT technology under my belt. I have that experience to lean on. And I also feel more confident standing up, and I've always felt more confident standing up and singing in front of people, but now I'm expanding that into speaking in front of people. These prior experiences have allowed me to step into what I'm doing today much more easily, in a way that I'm able to help and serve people to wake up to more of who they really are. I believe in a way that this was my destiny. This is what I feel. I feel like I'm living in my purpose or my calling now. And anytime I'm doing anything I feel passionate about with it, it just seems to drive me completely in that direction. However, the way I go about that is through free will. I have choice. The free will is I had to get comfortable speaking instead of singing in front of people. The free will is I had to make some difficult choices about doing a career change in the middle of my life. The free will is I had to begin doing these videos online. Initially, I was getting this feeling within me. It's like the spirit was leading me and speaking to me to do videos on YouTube. And I was really resistant to do it in the beginning. I didn't want to do them. My free will chose not to do them. Until more recently this year, my free will finally said yes to do it. Truth be told, I look back on it now and I wished I just kind of went with it from the beginning. But at the time, I didn't want to do that. And in my mind, I have my reasons for it. It wasn't part of my plan, my ego in my plan. But the good news is I eventually got here anyway. And now I'm choosing to not only do online videos, but to do online courses and live events too. So my heart and soul are leading me to do these, but free will is accepting to follow through and do these new things. Free will is the way you actualize your destiny and fate. You get to choose and have influence on the experience you have. All my life, I have felt that something big was going to change or shift for me around the age of 50. That the world at that point in time was going to be going through a lot of turmoil and change. And what I know now is that I signed up to be a part of this awakening that is going on right now across the planet, to serve others who need help and guidance in moving through fears and uncertainties that we're all now experiencing. When you look at what's going on in the world, we're seeing the ways of the old beginning to crumble around us because it's no longer working. Look at the political systems of countries. Look at the banking system. Look at how the media is used to drum up incessant fear 24/7 into our world. People are waking up to the reality of what's really going on, and these old systems and paradigms are starting to fall apart and fail. This is not an accident. This is necessary for us to evolve to a higher level, to a higher state of consciousness and a better way of living. This is happening at a time where we're so closely connected and information gets around the world in literally minutes. Things are happening very, very rapidly and quickly. So if you're experiencing scarcity and fear, you have free will and can choose to have a different experience. And it starts by transcending all of that negative bullshit and propaganda that you see and hear going on all around you, and not nourishing yourself with any of that stuff, and not giving your power over to it, but instead holding on to your power to feed you and move you closer to who you are and your true purpose, and become who you are destined to become. And so I'm curious, what do you think about free will versus destiny and fate? Share it in the comments below, because I want to be able to continue to support you as you move forward in your journey. And if you found value in this video today, please pay it forward. Pay it forward by sharing this video online with your friends and family. So I want to thank you for joining me today, and until I connect with you again for my next video, stay well, stay healthy, and stay empowered.